All right, this is going to be EGLD macro analysis. Shout out to my guy Jay Armo for the suggestion. I'll get to your other suggestion as well here soon. But today let's do EGLD. So, number one, I'm liking a few things about EGLD. I'll go through those quickly. Number one, we have had a bullish break on the weekly time frame. I'd say we broke weekly market structure when we took out this last lower high. And now price is retracing a little bit, potentially looking for the next higher low, for the next higher high. So immediately off the bat, that's something that interests me about eGold. And looking at weekly market cipher, we see that the money flow has just crossed into the green. It had a nice overall curvature in the red and recently had an aggressive move to the upside and is just crossing into the green. The one thing about this that I could say is a little strange is we didn't really see a build-up with momentum. Momentum put in its lowest low right here and then had a very aggressive move to the upside where momentum got over the zero line and has stayed above there ever since. We didn't really see a trigger wave, a continuation of momentum. So potentially, maybe we see momentum dip back down into the red to produce a trigger wave at some point. Or maybe momentum just stays above the zero line for quite a long time. I mean, in the bear market, it stayed below the zero line for basically the whole time with, this little wave as the anomaly. But typically, if I was looking at this kind of situation on Market Cipher, I would say, it looks like there's a chance maybe momentum comes down for a bit to produce a trigger wave of sorts. Not saying that has to happen. This is on the weekly time frame. And I mean, if this thing starts pumping aggressively, bull market type stuff, then maybe momentum doesn't do that. And since it broke weekly market structure, it is technically in an uptrend right now. I don't think momentum has to come back down for a trigger wave. But I think if it does, there's a good chance that eGold might just range for a bit until that trigger wave actually prints, and then maybe it'll go on to put in a higher high. Just might take a while. We might range for a bit before putting in the next higher high. But overall, based on the market structure shift and the weekly money flow looking really bullish, this is something that definitely interests me. I think I'm personally going to be looking for setups on this. And, the next setup I would really be interested in would be looking for the higher low. And so I will go to the lower time frames now to try and investigate the potential for where the higher low might come in, when it might come in, is it already in yet? So let's go down to the daily time frame next. So we actually saw daily money flow take a turn to the downside here, and it got into the red. It is continuing to put in lower lows. Potentially we could see it turning around here. I mean, it's getting another move back to the upside, but the fact that it's still putting in lower lows, and since this kind of looks like a weak move into the red so far, it's not really an extended move like we've seen previously with like this move. This was a very weak move into the green, but then we saw another large move in the red, large move in the green. So it seems like it might be gearing up for another extended move to the downside. Or potentially, since this happened while eGold was in a downtrend, it just was a lower high on a lower time frame. And now since it is technically in an uptrend, at least on the weekly time frame, you could say we had a bit of a bearish transition right there. But potentially, since it's in a weekly uptrend right now, maybe we do get a very shallow wave in the red before the next move to the upside. So potentially, the higher low is already in. We have had a retracement. If we take a fib, it looks like we probably hit off of the 0.5, which is a pretty decent sized retracement. And yeah, we actually came pretty close to the golden pocket there, so that was a pretty sizable retracement. But I would say that since we front ran the golden pocket and since money flow is still putting in lower lows, I think it makes sense to maybe come back down to these lows once more, maybe give the daily time frame a bit of time to kind of fill out this overall curvature in the red, build up, a solid move for the next time it wants to push for higher highs. And then we can retest this golden pocket, which if I take a fixed range volume profile of this general range, starting from, this low right here, the golden pocket lines up with the point of control. You can also pull this over to right here where we broke weekly market structure. Same thing, point of control is right in that area. So I think it makes sense to come down for one more lower low based on daily money flow and based on, well, this level that we front ran. So that is an area of interest for me. I'm watching this zone between $44 and $42, and potentially lower if we go lower than that. We can technically retrace all the way back down to these lows and still maintain that weekly uptrend. So, just because we don't hold support on this level doesn't mean we can't put in a higher low lower. But this is definitely looking like an interesting area with the confluence that we have there. And if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see money flow is taking a turn to the downside right now. You can kind of outline a bit of curvature here. It's not the greatest looking because we had little dips into the purple here. And recently we are seeing more of a turn to the downside. At least the turn to the downside is more pronounced than the direction to the upside. The upside is more like, just a trend line. It's like the money flow is squeezing to the upside. Whereas here it looks more like a clear turn to the downside, and at the moment it looks like it's about to cross back into the red. And even zooming out, we have, a general downwards direction from back here and a general upwards direction from right here. So kind of unclear here, but it seems like at least very locally, money flow may be taking another turn to the downside. But which way it's really gonna break out, if you're thinking of this as a triangle, I'm unsure. Which is kind of what I'm thinking with the daily as well. I'm not really sure which way this is gonna go, but it looks like it has potential to continue down, just considering it's been a very slight move into the red so far, and it's still putting in lower lows. So because of that, I'm more inclined to think that the 4-hour will probably choose the downwards direction. And if that's the case, that could give us more of a retracement here and potentially get a move into this area. And we're seeing pretty much the same thing on the 3-hour. We're kind of seeing like a triangle form here. That was really poor drawing, but we're seeing lower highs on the top and we're seeing higher lows on the bottom. So it's definitely unclear. Potentially the higher low is already in. But also I think based on the daily time frame, there's a decent chance that we get another retracement here. And if that's the case, I'm definitely going to be interested in this zone. And if confirmations are presented, I may look for longs, I may look for spot buys. But yeah, since this is in bullish weekly market structure right now, since the weekly money flow is crossing into the green, this is definitely something of interest for me. And I'm going to be watching this closely and trying to identify where the higher low may come in. Alright, that's about it for this video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. And I will see you all in the next video.